If you're not working with a developer and instead you're using your own coding skills or tools like Webflow to develop designs yourself, then you're going to need to know how to export your assets from Figma. It's pretty simple, but I want to share a couple of tips along the way. First, let's talk about exporting icons. So things like icons, we want to export as vectors. So to do that, I'm going to go into one of my icons. I've selected it and I'm going to come down here to the export section. And instead of PNG, I'm going to switch this to SVG. And this will actually export it as a vector, which means that no matter how big or small this asset is presented, it is not going to lose any quality or get pixelated at all, like a PNG or JPEG would. Another tip for exporting icons is to always export them in their frames. So remember how we gave each of these smaller icons a 24 by 24 pixel frame? Well, that is so that both inside of Figma and inside of your built website itself, you can toggle between multiple icons without having to always go through and center align your icons. Just so much easier for them to have a consistent height, both when you're designing and when you're building. So for example, this is what not to do. Don't double click inside and select on the group itself or the specific vector or line itself and then go to export. Instead, you want to be selected on the frame and make sure that all frames of similar icons are the same size. You can also select all of these at once, hit this export, and change it to whatever setting you want and export all 12 of these frames individually, which is a huge time saver and it can really help you to stay organized. Next, let's talk about images. Images and icons and logos are the main three things that you would ever need to export for your web project. Your logo is something you should already have exported at a bunch of different qualities, so we really don't need to go over that here. But when it comes to images, as opposed to icons, which are exported as SVGs, these are raster images. So they're going to be exported as PNGs or JPEGs. So let's just select on this one here. We're going to click plus to export. And my rule of thumb is to use 2x PNG for raster images like this. If you do 1x, sometimes on larger screen sizes, it may not be large enough of a file to not get pixelated, and that's not what you want. But on the other hand, the bigger the resolution that you're exporting, the slower it will load on your website. So I find 2x to be a pretty good happy medium. Remember that JPEGs don't support transparent backgrounds and PNGs do. PNGs are also usually higher quality, so that's why I opt for those over JPEGs. Now you're armed with all the knowledge you need to collaborate effectively in Figma. So in the last few lessons, we'll talk about how to take your learning even further by crafting and organizing a more robust design system, designing this site for mobile, and exploring some of my favorite plugins.